Hi, my name is Jamie J. Miller, functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and massive action health expert. I am excited to bring an interview to you from one of my favorite clients, Dr. Rachel Scott. Basically, she is talking to you about the health program and the health journey that she went through working with me. From that moment that she messaged me on Messenger and said, I feel like a monster, to this vibrant, powerful, empowered, healthy woman that she is just a few months later that is making massive changes in action in her personal and her professional life. I'm excited for you to get to see this raw and this relevant interview with Rachel. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rachel Scott, originally from the Philadelphia area, recently moved to the beautiful island of Puerto Rico. I'm actually a pharmacist by training. I was in the corporate world as a vice president and left there to start a business. Today, I run a multi-million-dollar marketing agency.
Awesome. Now, Rachel, I'm going to ask you kind of a few questions today just to kind of let people know what your experience was with working with me and continues to be as we still work together to this day. Now, let's start from the very beginning. What was your main health complaint struggle before starting this program? And how long had you been struggling it? What was your big issue?
My big issue before hiring you and beginning to work this program was it had become, I think it really evolved over time. It probably started more subtly, but it became really loudly like uncontrollable emotional swings and the people in my life didn't, people except for the people really close to me didn't really know what was going on because look, I can hold my stuff together. I'm like a lot of strong women out there and I handled a lot of things and I was still handling that stuff on the outside, but on the inside, it's like I would, come home, I'd be like in the corner in fetal position and just feeling so ashamed because I have a few different backgrounds, right? I'm a pharmacist by training, so I have the scientific background and I've actually I coach women entrepreneurs and performance coaching. So I have all the training in terms of like, how do you work your mindset and how do you walk yourself through what's going on? And none of it was working. No matter what I tried, I just still felt crazy. And so I would be lashing out at my husband and I would be feeling, depressed about it. Didn't like my life was fine, but I couldn't seem to find happy.
Right, exactly. Now, did you previously, like you just said, you know all the tricks and techniques to deal with mindset, but really had you, as far as your body goes and the physical aspect of your body, you had been doing a lot of things, right? You had been working out, you had been trying, you had done, the diets and things like that. You had done other things to try to alter your situation before we got together, correct?
Yeah, but before I started working with you, I had, so years back, I had a garbage can, everything was going in. And I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, I started changing what was going into my body. And I'm not, I don't consider myself a health nut. I think I'm like a regular human being who shops at regular stores. But I had just started to be more conscious about what went in. So it wasn't like I was eating like 100% organic or I had gone vegan or anything like that, but I had tried every lifestyle under the sun. And I had begun working out many years ago. So I had been working out for, I guess again, something like 8 years, but despite what I put in my body, despite how much I worked out, I found that I could bring some weight down. I'm about 4 sizes smaller than I was for a while, but I could never get there's just always this layer that wouldn't budge.
Right. Now tell me what your biggest hesitation was. 2 questions here. What was your deciding factor in order to hire me? And what was your biggest hesitation about hiring me?
Well, I think the deciding factor to hire you was really I kept hearing about other people's experiences with you. I kept hearing that someone, had that last bit of weight that they couldn't get off, that just once they worked with you, there it went. Or, someone, posting in your group or your wall saying I'm so glad I did this. I have so much more energy now, or my sex drive. I didn't mention that. That was a big reason. I wasn't talking about that to other people, but I'm like, what's wrong with me? I love my husband. What's going on with me?
Right.
And it was just overwhelming. I kept hearing people's stories and I couldn't deny, I just needed this help. So that was what that was what made my decision for me. And as far as my biggest hesitation, probably because I'm somebody who's open to trying lots of things in all sorts of realms. I'm totally someone who will, go do growth work. And I have, like I said, I'm a coach, and I'm a pharmacist, and I have access to all sorts of knowledge, and I've bought into different programs, and I've had different mentors before, and I've had personal trainers at the gym. And my thought was, well, why the hell is this going to be any different, right? And really, I think my biggest fear was like, I'm going to get my hopes up again, because I have felt this level of really the biggest pressing thing was this kind of craziness that I was feeling, and I felt it for a long time, and I just thought, like, this is just how it goes for me.
I think this is interesting because you're a professional woman. In fact, you and I have worked together on business stuff, and so I look at you as a mentor when it comes to business. And so I know that there was a little bit of hesitation because there was a vulnerability factor. Explain that, how hard it was to ask for help because you felt like you should have it together.
For me, it was like particularly hard to ask for help because I have a number of coaching clients that I work with, and I mentor them, I consult with them on their businesses, and I'm their rock, right? And that is my job, to have my stuff together so that I can be there for people who need support in whatever it is that they're going through. And usually they're growing their businesses, and there's a lot of stress involved in that. And so if I'm the one wavering, that's a problem. So it was particularly because I had worked with you in a business capacity of providing that kind of mentorship. This was like, oh my gosh, I had to confront all of those three monsters in my mind of like, I'm a failure, right? I mean, that's like, you're going to find out that I'm a failure because I shouldn't need this help. And I definitely shouldn't need it from, I definitely shouldn't need it because like I'm this person who's supposed to be mentoring other people. And ultimately, I think it was like, probably just anymore. Because the truth is I could have gotten this help earlier. Mm-hmm. It was available to me. And I think I ignored it until I got to a place when it was like hard for me to operate in my life anymore. And I don't mean like I couldn't get out of bed, because that's not me. Nobody would ever see me like, you can't get out of bed. I bet my body would have taken me there if I had. I mean, I guess that's the truth. It's like I might have started losing more function, like might have started losing real function, but it was like I couldn't keep up the charade anymore, that I had it together, and it was so painful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Okay, so let's talk about the program. What was the best part for you? What were your expectations? How were they met? How were they, what was the thing you struggled with the most? Let's talk about that, the actual, program and the logistics and the steps.
Okay. So, I've already mentioned, like, I have a lot of different things on my plate, right? I'm running actually a few different businesses at the same time. And, when I hired you on, it was like, I was really clear that I had to, in my mind, I was like, this is only going to work for me if I don't have to run this thing too. I need to take off the boss hat and just be able to trust somebody else to guide my health. And I can feel myself getting emotional about this now, because it was just, I just needed it. I just needed a soft place that I could land, that someone could support me in my health journey instead of me supporting everybody else. And I think that's, for anyone who gets to this place with their health, they probably tend to put themselves in that role, and it's a part of why their health suffers. I know that's been true for me. So I needed it to be like, just lay it out for me like I'm a baby. Just tell me the next step. I will trust you with my life, because I'm just done wearing the boss cap here. I let go of, I need to know everything ahead of time. Like, you just tell me what to do next. And that's what it looked like. Like, we had, like, as far as logistics, we had an online,
portal,
an easy way to communicate, right? And so I had an application on my phone, right? I'd hear from you. You'd say, okay, this is what you're going to do next. Okay, this is exactly it. You check in with me. How are you doing with this? I could check in with you with questions. And so I felt totally supported along the way. And I think when I started, just like anything, I was gung-ho. And then I think 2 weeks in, I said, I don't know if whatever. I don't know if my results are happening instantly. And I remember, the words that you gave me at that time, even though I'd heard from other mentors in the past about like staying the course, there was something that you said to me then that I just felt a deeper level of trust in this, that it was okay for me to continue this, that it was okay to like get past my mind's needs to like see that 24 hours later I was healed, just like let this work for me. And we did a few tests, and I know like both of us got some surprises about what we saw. And the biggest one for me, I mean, hands down, like my experience was the hormone test. Getting that test has changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm in business, I'm an entrepreneur. I see a lot of testimonials out there and whatever. People, like you can decide, take this for what it is, but it has changed my life. And just in a matter of, I think it's only been like 6 weeks or less of being on the supplement regimen.
For the hormones, yeah.
For the hormones, since I got those results. And like night and day, a new human. My friends are saying like, we have you back. Like
Right.
It's hard not, I feel, I don't think I've said this directly to anyone. Like there was so much relief when I got that test back, because for the first time in a long time, I didn't just feel like ashamed that there was something wrong with me, that I couldn't control my emotions, that I didn't feel grateful for my life, that all these circumstances, the fact that we, just moved to an island, like why aren't I happy if I can go to the beach every day? And yet it didn't matter because chemically I couldn't find it. And I didn't know that until I saw those test results. The relief that I had when really it wasn't like I didn't have to read those results. That's the thing. Like Jamie interpreted that fully and said, let me hold your hand. Let me walk you through this. This stuff is complicated. So let me tell you exactly what it means in like for your, for your perspective. Let me tell you what it's going to mean about, how we're going to help you, what supplements you might take, and what foods you might shift in eating. And I didn't have to do any of it alone, and I didn't have to be ashamed that there was something wrong with me anymore. And really, like this is crazy how fast things have shifted. It had been a long time since I had like really laughed. It had been a long time since I had really enjoyed things. And I just feel back again. I just feel excited about life. And I am just really eternally grateful, and grateful to myself that I was willing to make this investment. Because look, it's easy for money to get in the way. I get that. I've been a customer in a lot of ways. I've sold to clients in a lot of ways. And it's so easy to say like, I'll do it when I can afford it. And like, whether it's a stretch or the amount seems easy to you, there is no one in their right mind who would say, like, if I really could solve all this stuff I'm experiencing, if I could sleep better, if I could like want to hump like a rabbit, if I could stop feeling depressed and appreciate my life, if I could have better relationships with my kids and my spouse because like I feel okay again, I'm not pissed at them all the time. There's no one in their right mind who would say, nah, I don't think I'll make that investment. And like the only thing, I mean, I think you asked me this before and it's like I'd forgotten, like that can stand in the way, It's like I think that was there for me because I've tried other things. Is this investment going to be worth it? And I'm just so glad that I didn't let my mind talk me out of it.
Right. And I think that that's a great point to make professionally, because a lot of women, and rightfully so, we want to do these programs and we see it as more of a weight loss adventure, or even to be able to feel a little bit better about ourselves. But professionally speaking, because this is the part that I saw the most with you, how the place that you were at, hormonally, emotionally, physically, that mental and emotional state, that place that you were at, how shifting that has affected you professionally.
Oh my God. It's like, so our business is exploding. Like I haven't even told you about this stuff. Like we have several multi-million-dollar opportunities that are now just like I'm spearheading. I couldn't do it a few months ago because I was literally going. So I work this business with my husband, and I was literally going to him at least once a week in tears and saying, I quit. I can't do this anymore. Yeah. And legitimately, like it's night and day. I am spearheading this stuff. I hired on 2 people this week, and we'll be hiring on like another handful of people within the next 7 days. and we have 2 other companies launching in the next one this month, one in the next month. And all of this, like, there was a lot of stuff going on, but without me, like, I'm pivotal in this. And
Yes.
and I was like, because I was so clouded emotionally, because I was so, like, owned, imprisoned by my hormones and what was going on chemically in my body and all the effects of the gut on what I was feeling, I couldn't even see it for what it was. So I was ending up sabotaging what was going on professionally, because felt so crazy inside. And now I'm like, bring it. I'm like saying, oh, let's hire this person, fire that person. I feel I'm just in my power again.
Yes. And, that was one of the reasons why I was attracted to Rachel professionally, is because she was confident in her power. And it's also what I noticed, as the hormones chemically shift, and there's a lot of the things that factor into that, but as they hormonally shift, it does make a woman feel like she is no longer needed, is useless, is lost, and yet the person is still the same. Rachel's capacities, her brain, her power was still the same. It's just, unfortunately, again, the chemical shift in the body, left her standing there feeling like it wasn't. So, Rachel, I just adore you, and that 100%. And I am incredibly humbled at the fact that I got to be the one to participate in this with you and guide you along this way. Is there anything else about this whole process that, if you were to, be sitting and talking to someone about, and that was on the fence about why to do this program or why not to do this program, what would you say?
Yeah, well, I've shared my experience with a few of my friends, right? And they're like, oh my God, tell me about the test, right? But tell me about these tests. I need to know about this, right? And so, if anybody's on the fence, if anybody's thinking like of doing this on their own, right? Let me go figure out how am I gonna get, let me figure out my hormones on my own. Like that's the part I wanted to give up. That's the part I encourage you to give up, is like trying to figure this out. Because that's what got me like waiting, however many years to get the help that I needed. Jamie has been and continues to be an incredible support for me. And especially, like I shared, that we had this unique dynamic where I had mentored her professionally, and then I was becoming the mentee, the student in this. And she never, ever once made me feel like there was anything bad or wrong about that. I just felt so supported, so empowered. I was allowed to come to her kicking and screaming, and she'd say, girl, I know you're kicking and screaming, bring it in.
Yeah.
Bring it in, right? And I know that I know this because I know her professionally, that she provides that same level of commitment to every get that beautiful dog in the back.
I know. And he's walking around, I'm like, oh, tick, 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 tick on the floor.
I love him. I know she provides that same beautiful support to all of our clients, because I've heard her share about that. So if you are, scared that this might, you don't want to get your hopes up like me. If you're thinking, how can I make this investment? If you're, I get all that stuff. That was what was there for me. And all I can tell you is, like, this shift happened so fast, and I suffered for so long. And I hope that you don't suffer with whatever you're going through for one more day, because you don't need to. I really trust Jamie with my life after experiencing this, and I would recommend her to anyone, hands down, in my world.
That's awesome. One last question. I know that you have a professional and sciencey background. You are very, very intelligent. And this system was a little bit different. I mean, obviously you weren't going to a doctor and sitting in a doctor's office and dealing with an MD. How did that aspect of things, change you? And then how do you feel about it now, of course, going through the program?
Yeah. Oh, well, geez. I mean, so I have a science background, right? I'm a doctorate in pharmacy, and my father's a research scientist, right? I come from a lineage of science, where that's very respected. Mm-hmm. The naturopathic realm is not so respected in kind of what I was taught, and not just from an education standpoint, right? Like growing up in that family. But I've been through the ringer in the Western medicine system. You know, I have had migraines since I hit puberty, and I didn't even mention this. I like my migraines went away with the, like, this is huge. I didn't even mention that I've had like lots of migraines since I was 13 years old. There were some years, some months where I was getting 4 migraines a week, and most people are like, what? But it was just my normal for a long time. When I started this program, I think I was probably getting 1 to 2 a month at that point. And then after making dietary shifts, like none.
Yeah, I remember
None.
that.
They just went away. And I've been through, you know, the Western medicine world, regular MDs, neurologists have seen me since I was 13, and I was put on all the prophylactic medications, and I was put on, you know, all the migraine medications. And the same thing when I started to get depressed. You know, I think it was like my mid-teens when I first experienced depression, and then it kind of cycled throughout it. And you know, I was like, well, let's give you the candy, the pharmaceuticals. And I'm certainly not, look, medications have their place. I'm a pharmacist, I get that. But when all we do is treat the symptoms, we miss it. And I was like so ready for someone to look at me as more than a symptom of depression and ask, well, like, why is that going on? Not just like what's going on in your world, because my world was fine. My world was fine, and there was nothing I could point to as to why I was getting these migraines. You know, that was all, again. But as soon as we shifted my diet, and as soon as we addressed the underlying chemical stuff going on with my hormones, like all those years of, and so many doctors, and so much time in waiting rooms, and so many co-pays, like we just mapped my body. And so I get probably more than most the hesitance of like, oh, you know, are there qualifications behind this? Are there, you know, how does this match up to that? But look, from a professional's perspective, more and more the traditional Western medicine system is so disjointed. You go to you got to go to a doctor about this part of your ear, and then a doctor about this part of your face, and then a doctor about this shoulder, and like nobody is asking, or nobody's like thinking, maybe that shoulder might be connected to that ear somehow.
Yeah, it's true.
And it felt good to be treated as
A whole
the whole thing. Your migraines might possibly be related to your tummy.
Exactly, to your gut. Exactly. Well, Rachel, you really just described all this beautifully, and I'm just, like I said, I can't say enough about the work together. And thank you for getting on and talking about it openly.
I just want everybody to know, because if you don't hear this, like your skeptical mind is going to say, how could this? So I just want to shout your praises and let other women know, like, this can do it for you.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And so again, thank you so much for that. And I think so many women are going to really be able to relate to what you've gone through and this experience. And I'm just really excited to be able, like I said, and we're continuing on. This is, we're not even done yet. So that's the
I'm like, if I feel this great after, the hormone part of the program too, like first it was like, get rid of migraines. Oh, just instantly get rid of migraines. And then it was like, and I say instant, but it really is that it was just like a handful of weeks and the shift was there. So it's like, first, oh, migraines are gone. And then it was like, oh, your crazy's gone. And now I'm like, well, how much better can it get?
Yes. And two, again, I want everyone listening to hear is that there was a time and a place where Rachel came to me with major resistance. And so that is expected. That is welcomed. And I don't mind hearing it. And I think that's the difference, especially in Western medical world and professional, is that you can't voice how frustrated you are because things aren't happening as quickly, or many times the world around you is really just falling apart, and you really just want some sense of who you are to feel better. And so therefore the resistance comes in that arena because you feel like you have a little bit more control of your body, which is not always the case. So again, resistance will be there, but you need a safe place to be able to express that and to work around it and work through it.
I'd love to emphasize, because you're so right about that. Like, I can't imagine, going to a neurologist and saying, like, I'm just really scared about this protocol that we're doing. It feels like it's not working yet, or I don't know, was it even worth it for me coming to see you? They would be like, what? Why are you calling my office? Click.
Yeah.
right?
And those are real words.
Yeah.
That Rachel said, was just like, I don't think this is working. And as a professional, there's no ego behind it. That's exactly how you should feel at the beginning. I mean, it's okay. And that's where I just sit and say, so let's sit in this, and I get it. I get it. And I think that comes from the fact of having a professional that has been through it. And
Mm.
so there's a difference, is that when I was there and I was going through it, I felt exactly the same way. And so, yeah, to sit through that with Rachel was, again, good stuff. Rachel, thanks for jumping on with me today and telling your story. I really, really appreciate it. And you guys, if you have any questions, if there's an opportunity down below, or to hit reply on email, or however you're seeing this video, feel free to reach out and let's talk about it. And notes, do not spend, just like Rachel said, do not spend another day, another hour, feeling like you have lost control over your health, or that you're not the person that you need to be, or losing money in your business because your health is not capable of doing what it needs to do to change that, to support your business and your goals. All right. That's all we got. Peace out.